It's cold brew season, and Trade has you covered for the warmer weather months. Sign up for a cold brew subscription and get coffees designed specifically for making cold brew delivered right to your door. But how do you make cold brew at home? Well, for a limited time, you get a Hario cold brewer with your subscription for absolutely free. That's a $30 value. Just pour, fill, and chill and have your own cold brew right at home. Plus, shipping is always free. Go to unitedwedrink.com/trade to start your subscription today. Better coffee is waiting for you with Trade. The opinions and statements in this podcast do not represent those of the host's employers, coworkers, family, or imaginary friends. Now enjoy the show.
Happy hour? More like amateur hour. Welcome to United We Drink.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another new episode of the United We Drink podcast, right here on unitedwedrink.com, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever fine podcasts are found. My name is Mike Urevich, and I am very, very tired, but I'm a I'm a professional.
Consonant.
I'm a vowel.
Hey. Oh, no.
I'm sometimes why.
I'm a professional, so I will not be going to sleep during this podcast, unlike some other podcast hosts that I have experienced in my past. Tim gets that joke. But Tim is with me, as well as Kevin. How are you guys today?
What's up, dude?
Oh, just dandy.
So, we are coming hot off of a stellar episode where we let supercomputers with a decent grasp on language, make two breweries for us. And we thought that was fun. I guess some of you didn't.
It's a slow burn. It'll get to them eventually.
But we don't make this podcast for you. We make it for you. It's definitely not for us.
Well, first of all, no, but Mike, please point out that it's just that the listens were down, right? As opposed to most podcasts. But the important thing is, if you're listening to this, you probably listened to that one too. So we're not talking to you. We're talking to the yous that aren't listening. Does that make sense?
And if you know one of the yous who weren't listening, go tell them that they suck and that they need to listen in order to not suck anymore.
It shows how poorly we have our finger on the pulse when we got done with that episode and said that's one of the best ones we've ever done. And immediately people are like, yeah, I'm not interested in that. So what do? We double down. Let's do more AI episodes. Let's talk about more things.
I think maybe we should have used AI to help us market that last episode so that we could be getting more views, more downloads.
Yeah, we really should be. I mean, we should be getting AI to make the show from beginning to end. Like we have to be feeding it our voice so it can deep fake us. I mean, and I guess if we're telling,
it had to listen to like 2 episodes. So we would just make the same dumb jokes every other week.
Also, if we're being upfront about it, is it really a deep fake? Is it like a moderately below the surface fake, or is it a surface?
It's a floating fake.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just. Who says that this episode hasn't been? Who says that that's not what the people are listening to right now? Right. This could all be AI. In fact, it's possible that none of us even exist.
Affirmative.
Did you find a glitch in the Matrix?
In the future, we say affirmative.
Yes, affirmative.
Humans are dead. What are you guys drinking tonight? You know what? I'll start things off here. I am having a fault line fermentation crust breaker. Stacey, no, no, I'm not. I'm having a Voodoo Ranger Tropic Force. I'm going big and going home tonight. Also, I have a backup of one of our hazy IPAs at Copper Point, but this I'm actually really stoked on. Kevin, I know you're a big fan of Spindrift. I just picked this up at Trader Joe's last week. It's the Island Punch. It's passion fruit, guava, and orange. Holy shit, it's good.
It's good.
Like my new favorite.
I like the mojito one they've recently put out. Not talking about Spindrift, I am finishing up a Waypoint IPA, which is Barrel of Monks IPA. But I have been on an IPA kick. I was just telling Mike, this weekend, my family was out of town. My wife and son were up in Philadelphia visiting family, and she was doing a conference. So I had the house. I had the house to myself. I picked up a 12-pack of Sierra Nevada, a bunch of new IPAs. One of those was a West Coast version of Torpedo, I believe, and that was absolutely delicious. I loved everything out of that pack. But I also picked up a Hazy Maximus from Lagunitas, and I have that as my next beer that I'm going to crack open. It is everything that Mike hates because it is malty and just delicious and amazing. But I love Maximus in general, and the hazy version is really, really good. It's like this tangerine orange. It's so good. I highly recommend it.
But it's hazy?
It is a hazy, but it's malt forward. Because, I mean, Maximus is traditionally, that big malty West Coast IPA, and it's a kind of a hazy version of it. So you do get the malt flavor in there, which I love, adding all that tropical fruit and like sweet citrus fruit, which is cool.
I don't think my brain can process that entirely right now.
And me either. Tim, what are you having?
I am drinking water. I think I must be dealing with a little bit of food poisoning or something. I'm not quite certain, so I'm just trying to get some fluids back into my system.
Oh, did you have some bad? What's a Minnesota fish? Like
Lutefisk?
Yeah, that's it, lutefisk.
No, although my daughter and I did go out to a hot pot restaurant, and we did wonder if maybe the crab was suspect.
Oh, smell a little weird. Smell a little funky.
No, it didn't. We're just wondering out of all the things that it was that she and I both had. I think that was there.
I mean, when they tell you to cook the things yourself, like fondue, hot pot, like there's they're like passing on the potential to you. It's like, hey, this is all on you. You get sick, it's because you didn't cook it right.
Yeah, kind of. So that very well could be.
All right. So,
by the way, this beer is called Hazacus.
Oh,
just
okay.
so you know.
Thank you.
Carry on, Mike.
Thank you, Kevin. I did want to know that. All right. So we are deciding we're gonna, like Kevin said, we're doubling down on AI for this episode. We are letting AI do some more fantasy work for us. Kevin, do you want to explain what we're doing here tonight?
So I didn't know how much we were going to get through on our brewery ideas for last week. So in preparation for last week, I said, hey, listen, if you can create a brand new brewery with all this information, can you help my brewery? So what I did was I put a very long prompt explaining to ChatGPT who Barrel of Monks is, how long we've been open, what our focus is, what our brands are, and said, with all this information, how can you grow my business? Essentially, and this is realistic, we have been around 2,000 barrels for like 4 years now. And it's gone up slightly every year, maybe down a little bit. But I mean, the increases are so minuscule, we're still in the same ballpark. So I said, with a stagnating brewery that is not having meaningful, long-term growth, what can we do? And this is what ChatGPT came up with for us. Excuse me. So there's a lot of information, very similar to last week. There's stuff about brands. This is more about marketing strategy, honestly, than it is about making new beers. So let's just keep that in mind. Because I put our core beers and stuff in there. I didn't ask them to come up with new beers necessarily for us, but there is some information here. The big message here, I think the message from last week was or 2 weeks ago, was all about, the land and topography and all that kind of stuff. And for whatever reason, they wanted everything to be sour. But here it's all about modern, right? They want to modernize the monk. So the first thing they wanted me to do was introduce a secondary logo. And this is specific. And I sent you guys, I think, this picture. Mm-hmm. A stylized monk with sunglasses or a tulip glass / hop halo. Subtly ironic, modern monk. That is horrifying to me. That is about the cheesiest thing I think anyone can do. And I will say the reason why I think some of this was in there is I was saying in the prompt that we are a Belgian-inspired brewery that has steadily done less and less Belgian beer. We've been modernizing our brewery portfolio. And I think it took that and went to the kind of extreme with it and really cookie cutter versions. They talk about, this is simple stuff, keeping the Belgian influence, but using playful language and contemporary fonts, but using iconography like monastic arches meets Miami Art Deco. I don't know what that means.
That one made me laugh pretty hard.
But that doesn't go with a playful, stylized, like monk wearing sunglasses, like at all. Contemporary fonts does not fit that.
I'm surprised it wasn't called Uptown Monk. There's something even more awful like that.
Well, the brand refresh is the heading is Old World, New Rituals. So the product's
not a terrible catchphrase, but it's.
I do like new rituals. I like the word ritual in general in there, so I'll give them that. But here is the product strategy. Once again, leaning very heavily on this. Monks gone modern. Okay? So, here are some beers that we can create. There's no real names to them, but here's the beers they want us to create. So the Monks Gone Modern or the New Vow series of beers wants us to do cold IPAs, Italian Pilsners, hazy Belgians. That's an interesting thing.
Yep.
And fruited mixed fermentations. There's you go.
There's your sours.
Listen, ChatGPT has been pulling for wild ales since day one, and they're going to make this thing happen. This is a very creative one that I like. They would like us to create something like a cold double DUBBEL IPA. You see what they did there? It's double, but it's spelled like double, like you would have with a Belgian double. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you just can't come up with yourself.
Brewed with classic malt and dry yeast.
What? That's an odd. What is that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to be using dry malt and classic yeast, so I'll be in direct competition with you.
Wait, are you guys using wet malt?
I don't think you're
I'm unaware of.
I don't think you're allowed to do that. I think that's actually illegal in most states. Except
Florida. Come on.
So yeah, I'm gonna say this. Admittedly, our mug club, if you will, is called the Brotherhood. I've never liked that name because it is exclusionary to women in some ways, right? Like you can say that women can join the Brotherhood, and they certainly can. But there is something that's always stuck in my craw about that. Mm-hmm. Their suggestion is that we have the Monastery Club. The Monastery is actually a pretty good name for a mug club or a group of monks, right? I mean, it is a name for a group of monks, or at least a place where monks reside. So that's actually really good. I wish we would have came up with that early on. And I would pitch that as a change to my partners, but I think they would probably shoot that down pretty quickly. So we do have, by the way, a loyalty club that we have about 150 members, and it's about $150 to sign up and $99 a year. You get a couple beers with your membership, you get a glass with your name on it. You get larger pours. You get discounts. All these other kind of stuff. This is what their monastery club, that they don't know anything about this. I keep saying they. ChatGPT does not know that we have a club like this, but this is what they're suggesting. $10 a month or $99 a year gets you a 4-pack a month of rotating beers. That's a nightmare.
Yeah. Also, that is not a good price for a business.
Yeah.
$10 gets a person a 4-pack a month.
And early access to releases, food truck discounts, and members only glassware. That's a losing proposition right there, ChatGPT. I'm sorry to tell you. And exclusive beer of the month, a triple dipped in coconut or a Palm Abbey Pale.
There is a brand called Palm that is a Belgian pale ale. It's been around for a long, long time.
So that's what we have going on. Taproom activation. Turn your small taproom into a curated Belgian-inspired beer experience. I did describe that our taproom is relatively small. Guided flights with tasting cards. Sure. Pairings with a food truck, including your classic Belgian-inspired dishes, beer cheese, waffle fries, things of that nature. Belgian glass night, buy the beer, keep it authentic, rotating glassware, and a mini monk festival every 2 months. 1 weekend of live jazz, famously Belgian and monk inspired, and limited beers, trivia, and monastery food pop-ups.
That's another thing, is that monks are famously known for pop-up food vendors.
I mean, there are just tons of Belgian-inspired food pop-ups. They keep coming to us, and we keep telling them, no, we've got a burger food truck.
So two things here. First, I just want to touch on the keep the glass night. It's a thing, like, I see some breweries do that to great success. Like Off Color in Chicago does, like, it seems like they do a keep the glass night every month with a brand new glass, like different style, different artwork on it, for different beers that they're putting out, and they fucking go banana. People go bananas for them. They sell out of them. But I don't think that that's something South Florida people really care about, because I don't know. We just don't have the market for it. But I love how the early parts of this strategy was modernizing the brewery, like not leaning so heavily on Belgian beer. And then when we get to the tap room, it's like fucking full force Belgian, like Belgian everything, taproom Belgian everything,
Belgian food, and this, that, and the other. Listen, I'm all for creating an identity, and a lot of these things that ChatGPT is suggesting are things that we talked about early on and realized they were untenable. And the reason why we moved to more of a modern take on our brewery and doing more modern American styles is because the market is so limited for people that really want a Belgian beer experience, let alone a Belgian food and beer pairing experience. It's just not something that is accessible or interesting to the vast majority of people. So not the best suggestions there, but they are. There's a lot of things in here that we talked about early on, and some of which we tried to implement to, varying degrees of failure. The media push, Boca de Bruges.
I feel like that should be the other way around.
I was the same way. It's we're going away.
I just don't think Bruges to Boca rolls off the tongue nearly as well, though. So I get it. But
it doesn't.
But it is backwards. Yeah.
But there's simple stuff here. I mean, just, video shorts about how we brew our beer. Sure, this is something that every brewery can do, and to some success they might be doing. I do like the idea of doing this one that says behind the brew, which is very clever. But one of the things in here is beer myths. I love the idea of doing some kind of video series very short about beer myths, because there's a lot out there. That is not content that is hard to find. But as far as stuff that coming into people's feed talking about, cans are bad because they taste different, or, whatever other thing we're talking about that we hear all the time. A short video series about that could be really informative. I always have said that people like to think they know things. So if you give them a little factoid, they will spread that around. They'll kind of remember where they hear it from. And that can be a really valuable piece. But here we go again. I'm sorry, go ahead.
M. Sauter from Pints and Panels does. It seems like every month she puts out like a new illustration about like a beer myth and like debunking it, and they seem to go over really well out there. I think that stuff like that is, especially if it's in an entertaining fashion. Like she has a very unique artistic look, and I think it draws people's eyes. And she's insanely knowledgeable. Like I also love when she creates stuff about like women know stuff about beer too. like yes, so some women know way more than guys. She shows very often. But
shockingly enough,
yeah. But
so that is I think that's a good recommendation. They do go into collaborating with Florida influencers and things of that nature. This is a nightmare. I mean, this is a thing that we've all done to a certain extent. Most of the beer influencers that are local to us are not savvy. They don't know really anything about the beer business. There's so many accounts with just attractive women holding up beer cans. These are not things that are going to really do anything for your brand. The people following them are not trying to find the new fun beer and the place they want to go. They just want to ogle women. So that's a big miss for me. I'm sure there are good influencers out there in the beer space. There are just not a lot of people, in my opinion, in our local area that do that. How about you, Mike? Have you noticed anybody that you would want to work with?
I mean, I do not search anyone out. Every so often we get some people who will message us and want to do something, and I vet them before I really propose it to our broader ownership group. And usually the ones who I'm like, oh, this one could work, is if they are asking for not a whole lot and they have a decent following. Like there's been some people who have come to us with like 20,000 followers, and they're just like, hey, we'd love to do something with you. Could you just buy like 4 beers for us and let us get behind the bar to take some video of your staff doing it? And I was like, yeah, no problem. That's a very easy ask. And then I'll be like, let me see, I need to see the video before you post it. I like just to make sure that there's not wrong information in there. And like usually those have been okay. Like I don't know how much we've actually gotten out of those, but giving someone a couple rounds of beers, who may open up the eyes to a few people nearby who could become fans forever. I think that's a money well spent.
Especially in that situation when you're giving away product and time. We've been approached by people who have asked for thousands of dollars to do stuff or to make long-term ad spends and things of that nature. A lot of times it's from people outside the beer industry. So they're doing something else. And they think
the food related places. I've seen those, and that's usually a non-starter for me.
I had one person who contacted us, and they were very nice, by the way, but they were pushing this envelope, and I'm like, you're a food place. You want to work with our food truck. There's no benefit for me to give you $1. I mean, you can't promote my beer, you're telling me, but you want me to pay you X amount of money to do it. Just would not resonate. It wouldn't, they wouldn't understand it. But that is something that we deal with on a regular basis. And our marketing team brings this stuff all the time. I had a really nice a phone conversation with somebody, an influencer outside of the beer space, super nice guy, asked for a lot of money to do what essentially was very little for us. And he can get it, and I respect him for doing it. But a lot of times these people are talking to us as if the money we would spend is going to be like a windfall for us. And I'm trying to explain to them is like, okay, well, a lot of your following is outside of Florida. How does that benefit me? You know, like that's one of the things about internet reach and social media is that it's not localized so much. And when you're Sierra Nevada, maybe that would be a great partnership because you can buy their beer in every grocery store in like every state. But for me, I don't give a shit if someone in Montana sees my brand. Well, it's brand awareness. To what end? So I'll get off my soapbox on that.
I feel like we could talk about that topic for an entire episode. Maybe that'll be the next one. But yeah, we can move on.
I do have, and this is for an episode that coming up, I did have a recent situation that probably not going to flesh out and do anything important for us, but it was a big marketing spend, big money. And I'd love to have a conversation with you guys about it and whether or not that would be a good strategy for Barrel of Monks. We'll see what happens and if I can actually talk about it, reasonably.
Oh man, he's just leaving you all hanging out there.
We'll see. We'll see if we revisit that in the future. But so a couple other things. Listen, this marketing strategy, I'll be honest with you, so much of this is stuff that everyone's doing. Yoga and wit beer Sundays. Well, every brewery in South Florida has had someone come through and do yoga on one of their weekend days and then have everyone sit around and drink a beer afterwards. These are
And do you do that anymore, Kevin?
No, because
neither do we.
Because there's no reason to do it because there's no benefit to us. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really.
No one came to the yoga person was like, yeah, this just isn't working. And we're like, yeah, we completely understand. Like you need to go where you can make money and it's not beneficial to either of us.
Belgians and brunch. Once again, putting together Belgian beer and food pairings. I love food pairings. I think they're great. I don't know how much that actually brings in anybody. Events outside the tap room. Belgian beer garden pop-up. Once again, we're focusing on the Belgian beer aspect of it, but talking about going to the Delway Affair and the Wynwood Art Walk, these are not things that we can do because we can't serve beer at those places.
Yeah,
and we can't sell beer at those places. I forgive ChatGPT for not knowing that, but it's not something that we can do. Also, a mobile tasting cart at farmers markets, book fairs, and indie fests called The Monk on the Road.
Again, if what's funny is both of those things can be done in Pennsylvania by breweries, and I'm sure in other states they can be, but in Florida, breweries cannot do either of those things.
So we worked with a marketing company. We were trying to develop a strategy, a big marketing strategy. And one of the things they came up with was they wanted to do like a rewards program like Marlboro did, where like you like got Marlboro miles or whatever they were called, and you could like use them to buy stuff. They wanted us to make an app and do something like that. And we had to explain to them like, that's a terrible idea because like we don't have the reach of that. There's no way to implement it. It was just, we're a small brewery, but we don't need an app. They also wanted us to create a van that was essentially a giant 6-pack with like fabricated bottles and drive it around locally. My favorite part about that is that we ended up not going with them, and I ran into one of the people that pitched it, and later on at a different event, and she said something about like, yeah, our ideas were just a little bit too dramatic for you. No, they were bad. They were bad ideas, and that's why we didn't do it. It wasn't they were dramatic and we were too, stodgy to implement them. The reason I'm talking about that is they want ChatGPT, once again, wants a monk character cutout with a QR code, a find the monk promotion. Do you know how many of the local Total Wines and Publix would allow me to put a cutout of a monk up in their thing so they could find the monk? None.
Total Wine might.
Well,
Publix,
Total
no.
Wine might. No. But even then, like it just that's just not an implementable thing for a brewery. And I described the size of our brewery and things of that nature. Just not a thing that's going to happen for a brewery our size.
You know, like I feel like to step back just a tad from that last story that you told. Like I feel like we have talked about these stories before where marketing companies just don't seem to understand the size of our types of businesses. Like they seem like they think they are pitching multi-million-dollar companies. They think they're pitching AB and Bevs and all of that, and don't understand we're not that, and we don't have the cash flow and for certain things, like maybe that app idea could work for a much larger business. I mean, the six pack thing's dumb as fuck, but like, I mean, I don't know how they could do some fucking research, like before you pitch someone on shit. But I digress.
Well, this is what I like about looking at this Chat GPT thing is that these are the ideas that they come up with, and some of them could work. These are not terrible ideas. If
it's a whole lot of spitballing. Yeah.
If you distill this down, there's some things you could implement here, and they could be successful for you. But for instance, in this promotion, ChatGPT suggests a bottle cap insert code to redeem for digital rewards. Now, I can tear that down as, okay, ChatGPT, that's impossible. You can't do that. There's no way to do that for a brewery our size. But that's unfair to a freaking AI who's just, scouring the internet and pulling out all this information. But this is the kind of thing that a marketing company would pitch me. They would 100% say, oh yeah, you just have to print out, millions of bottle caps, and they can have a code on the inside of them, and they can do this. And some of them will be winners, and some of them will be losers, and some of them will be more valuable than other ones. That's nonsense to anyone in my position. But it goes to show you that this is not uncommon recommendations for my brewery. And I've worked with at least 7 decently sized marketing companies, at least at some level, with them pitching me things or working directly with them for periods of time. And this is the kind of stuff that mostly gets pitched to us. And I mean, you could argue that maybe if we would have implemented some of these things, we would be much more successful. I can't, I have an N of 1, right? I've made my own decisions, but for the most part, it's stuff like this.
An interesting that you didn't say what came after digital rewards, because it says that those digital rewards are glassware and merch and etc. None of which, besides etc., is digital.
Yeah, they're all physical rewards. I thought, no, you get a virtual glass,
a digital glass.
It's like an NFT.
Yeah, you get an avatar, and now your avatar has a glass. Yeah, and he has a Barrel of Monks shirt.
Brilliant. So that was the bulk of it. I mean, it really was a lot of things saying going away. I would say the worst parts of the modernization, kind of the most cookie cutter things you could do with modernizing a Belgian brewery, and then all the things every Belgian brewery has done at some point trying to tap into that culture. But there are things here I liked. I liked the Monastery Club. I like some of the other things here. And you could do worse for the cost of a little bit of time in putting together a creative prompt. There's things I could take out of this, and I could refine it, and I could ask it 10 more questions and probably get some good actionable items on it, I would say.
You said something there that was hitting the nail on the head, and that's the time. Because I feel like so much stuff with small companies comes down to implementation is time that it takes to do certain things. Like skill, yes, comes into play. Money, yes, to a certain extent, but a lot of that is time. Even if you have the people with the skill and you have the money to a certain extent, it still means time. Like I look at video stuff. I can make videos, but they take me a lot of time to do, and I only have a certain amount of hours per week that I work for Copperpoint. And spoiler alert, it's not anywhere near full time. So with that, like, do I waste? And waste might not be the great word. Do I devote that much time to making all these videos when I could be working on other stuff that is more immediate? Like that videos are great, especially on certain platforms. TikTok, we're not on TikTok really. Instagram videos are king over there right now. But I mean, I can't devote all of my time to making videos when I only have so many hours a week to devote to all of my work. I have other social media posts to do. I have newsletters. I have design work. I have photography work that I have to do. I have to man the social media channels and respond to messages and check comments and fucking report spam fucking all the fucking time on those, which could be a fucking job by itself. So yeah, I think that time is the biggest thing when it comes to implementation of things that could get you more people.
I agree. I think you said a mouthful there, Mike.
I did.
So the other thing that we did was we put together another AI business plan, but this was for a brewery that doesn't exist anymore. It's a closed brewery. I asked AI to reboot Due South Brewing, which is a brewery that is not often named specifically on this show, even though I probably break that rule more than anybody.
This is going to be the second episode where we allow it to be said uncensored.
So Mike and I obviously worked at this brewery together. It is a brewery that was about 10 years old. It closed down in, I think, did we figure it out? It was
2021.
2021. So I put in a prompt saying, reboot this brand. Here's what this brand was. Here's why it failed. And what would you do to revitalize this brand? I gave it its core beers and asked a lot of the similar things, marketing strategy here and there. Now, I am realizing one thing about this is that I am talking a lot in presenting all this. If either one of you guys wants to jump in and kind of go through this, please do. I don't want to monopolize every part of the conversation. But this is fun because there's a lot of that kind of typical, brewery stuff in here that I love seeing.
Yeah. So let's go over the brand reboot of Due South 2.0. Subtitle: Bold Roots, Bright Future. The location strategy: Coastal Urban Revival. I don't know what that means, but they proposed. So this brewery was originally in Boynton Beach, where Copperpoint is, where Nobo is. We had what was called the Brewery District for a period of time because we had 3 breweries within less than a quarter of a mile of each other. You could walk to every single one of them. But so their location strategy: new home, Delray Beach, which is the town to the south of there, or West Palm Beach urban core, where I live. Both are walkable, food and art oriented neighborhoods, and close enough to honoring existing fans, fresh enough to attract new ones. Bonus: higher tourism traffic and local pride. those are true things. Like
Also more expensive.
Exactly. Like being in a great high foot traffic area, which takes me to the brewery specs because it says an 8 to 10,000 square foot facility, including the tap room and a mid-sized brew house, 15 to 20 barrels. The original Due South facility in the warehouse was, I think, 15,000 square feet.
That was in the prompt, by the way.
Okay.
I put the prompt of the size of the brew house. All that information was in the prompt.
So they want us to have a slightly smaller, like maybe a third smaller than what we were in the original, in an urban location, a downtown area. That doesn't exist, really. And if it does, it's a lot of money. Annual production target is 2,500 to 3,000 barrels with scalability to 5,000. Focus on taproom first, supported by rotating can drops and keg sales. I mean, that seems to be. I mean, that's what most people are trying to do is taproom first, right? Like that's where you make your most money. So nothing really breaking the ground there. Taproom, the front porch of the South. If you had ever been to the original Due South, that's what it looked like, was the front porch of any, or the back porch of any person in South Florida, with mixed matched patio chairs and tables all over the place. Like,
Let's just put it out there. It wasn't a nice front porch, right? It was.
Well, that's because it's the front porch of the South. So,
I mean, there's probably way better front porches in the actual South. Like go up to Georgia, South Carolina. We probably have much better porches up there, because remember, the further south you go into Florida, you're leaving the South.
that's true.
Why is my? It's not. Oh, here we go. Vibe. Which is probably a word that would not be allowed to be used at Due South. Modern industrial Florida design with warm southern touches. I don't know what that means. Like I like to think that I pay enough attention to homes and architecture that I know some terms. All of those put together don't mean anything to me. Lush indoor greenery, which does not sound like industrial. Pastel muraled walls. That is so Due South. Muted colors. Nothing bold. Comfortable patio. Dedicated event lounge for trivia, community forums, beer and book nights. That is not something that fits for Due South. But that is something that I feel like most breweries want to have nowadays, is a dedicated event space. Like,
sure.
To where, I mean, you have that, Kevin.
Yep.
And I know that you guys try to push that hard. Like you have your comedy nights there. You open it up to people to rent out. Like I would kill for the upstairs area of Copper Point to be enclosed and air conditioned so that we could host like talks and special speaking engagements and stuff like that. Like it would be fucking killer for something like that. 16 tap bar, including flagships, rotating pilot system, a 3-barrel system. So they didn't say that earlier on. They want you to have a 3-barrel pilot system as well as a 15 to 20 barrel system. So, yeah.
No. I say no to that.
That's what Unmapped had. It worked out pretty great. Was
I
three-barrel pilot in a what I think was that a 15 or a 20? What was that? That was a anyway. Yeah.
I having a pilot system, but it does seem like just repetitive. Like that was always something with Mike over there, and even to a lesser extent, Matt at my current brewery is like, our system's already small enough as it is. We like if we make a small batch, we might as well just make a full batch because it costs the same amount of labor to do it. So that's always.
I will say that I might have just been traumatized by working on the pilot system at Funky for, the short period of time that I was there. That nightmare fucking system that I still have, tremors to this day about. So maybe that's just my thing.
They also recommend having guest Southern collabs. Think Trim Tab. I've never heard of Trim Tab. I don't know who they are. I'm sorry if you're someone from Trim Tab. Send us beer. Say hi. Crooked Can. I know them. They're up in the Orlando area. Monday Night. They're in Atlanta area brewery. I don't even think they distribute into Florida. Local food vendor stalls on rotation instead of an in-house kitchen. Food trucks. So same as it always was.
But that's a thing that a lot of people have done. Was having like these rotatable food areas, and I've seen this in a couple different spots.
Yes, I've seen rotating kitchens, but they have a kitchen in house.
Yeah,
and you pretty much have quarterly like guest chefs.
And that can work, but consistency is everything to me. I really believe that building up consistency with your food operations, I'm biased by this, but when we went from having rotating food trucks to having the same food truck every single day and people could rely on it, made a world of difference for us.
Yeah, like I see both sides of that. Absolutely. Because, you go to a brewery and say I go to Copper Point and hey, the ramen truck's there and I have a fucking incredible bowl of ramen and I'm like, oh fuck, I want to go back there again and have that bowl of ramen and some good beer. And I go back and it's a pizza truck. I'm like, oh, that wasn't what I was hoping for when I came here. I'm like, oh, I'll get it. It's good, but people like to know that they're going back to sometimes. Like it, I fight it both ways because I'm definitely a student of the thought that fuck, what is the fucking saying? It was just on the tip of my tongue and then I lost it. Is variety is like the
spice of life.
That's it. Because I love going to breweries and trying what their new thing is, but and I know that there's people who who come to our brewery and only drink our lager. Like that's all they drink every single time that they come in, and that's great. But it's a balancing act. But I just gave up on that argument. If you couldn't,
yeah. I mean, I tend to think that having, to Kevin's point about more stability, and also for the food trucks, right? When you're constantly having to book new ones, if you're trying to get it regularly, that they're not always reliable, they're not always consistent. For the food trucks themselves, they go, boy, last time I was out there, I did shit, so I'm not going to go back. And it's a lot easier for one food truck to weather a slow day when they know they have the other days, but it becomes a lot more challenge on that. Rotating is a neat idea, but it's a lot.
I think that's a really cool case study, really, that Kevin has shown is they used to do rotating food trucks, and now for what's it been 3, 4, it's 5 years.
It's 5 years, yeah,
5 years that you've had Chefry there. To say we hear consistently and see consistently in sales that we have more with a solid food option there.
Well, it's the perfect example of people complained early on. I love that meatball hoagie guy that showed up, and I love the grilled cheese guy, and I love the grilled cheese guy. That dude was awesome. He did to all the local breweries. But you piss some people off that don't want this kind of food, and you make a lot of other people happy, and you replace those people and you get consistency out of it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into wait, did I miss? There was one thing. Nope, we're not there yet. There's a tagline that I fucking love that I'm not meaning that sarcastically. I actually do like, but we're getting to the beer lineup.
I want to talk about the beer. Yeah.
Yeah. The classics return, reinvented. So, it gave us 4 flagship beers. One of them wasn't. Well, I guess one was a flagship for a little bit, but then fell off. But 3 of these are core year-round beers. Our year-round beers when I left were essentially caramel cream ale, number 1, Category 3 IPA, Category 5 IPA, and then we had a lager that I think right as I was leaving, they were calling it Coastline.
But by the way, I forgot about the lager. I was the one that put the wheat beer in there as a
was
core
that
beer.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I saw your when you
Yeah.
sent the prompt over, you did have. So yeah, here we go. We have I'm going to start actually with number 2 because this was our number 1 beer, Caramel Cream Ale. They're now saying do it on nitro, and do seasonal coffee varieties on it for variants. These are things that we kind of did. We did do some caramel cream on nitro from time to time. It was a beer that worked well on nitrogen, and it was a beer that worked well with coffee as well. We did imperial versions with coffee, and so it's if it
Not
is
a bad
a tap
recommendation.
room, yeah, if it's a tap room focused thing, like making that beer year round nitro isn't a terrible idea. Category 3 is now a hazy IPA. It's probably not a bad pivot to go more modern. Like it was a very confused East Coast IPA. like that recipe, if it was the same for more than a month and a half, I would be fucking surprised. I remember, and like I don't give a fuck if he gets pissed off. What the fuck's he gonna do? Mike came to Joel. Joel was in the middle of doing a quad batch, so he was filling a 60 barrel FV with 15 barrel batches, 4 batches of IPA. Joel's knocking out, I think, the first batch, and he has the second batch in mash. And Mike goes, "Where are you at?" Joel tells him, and he goes, "Changing the hop schedule for this." After the first batch is already knocking out. So okay, we're doing a new hop scheduling on this beer, starting with the second turn of 4 for this. Like that beer was always changing with whether the malt stayed relatively the same, but man, the hop bill for that was always changing. But going hazy is probably the way to go. And like, you don't have to go crazy hazy. Wait, did I just do something there? Crazy hazy? No, Tim doesn't like it. He says,
No.
okay. But I mean, hazy little thing is not your typical haze boy hazy, and fucking sells good. Doing something along those lines, probably a not bad idea. Honey citrus wheat. So we made honey vanilla wheat with orange blossom honey and vanilla beans. So they're pretty much saying knock out the vanilla and add citrus to it. What they don't say, just says light zesty with Florida orange blossom honey. I mean, just go double down and put orange peel in there. And then category 5, they call it West Coast DIPA. That's exactly what it was. It was a West Coast double IPA. Resinous 8.5%. That's what it was. It calls it an iconic name. Oh, thanks. Modern hops, Strata and Citra. It was a big Citra bomb IPA. So add a little Citra in there or Strata to change it up a little bit, sure. But man, like that one is just like keep that one exactly how it was.
Well, first of all, in the prompt, I did not say that Category 5 was a West Coast IPA with Citra. You know what I mean? Like, so
no, but that's kind of funny that it pretty much made the beer the way it was.
Exactly. That's very good. I love the new core additions, by the way. And Mike, you're going to get into that.
So Beachcomber Lager. Oh my God, such a fucking 1990s brew pub name. Mexican style lager for boaters and brunchers. Get the fuck out of here. But I know so many fucking people who fucking love that name. They're all people who work in breweries, so they don't count. They're not actual customers. Uh, Florabiscus Saison. This fucking AI loves fucking saisons.
And sours later on down with the limiteds.
Yeah.
It wants to put wilds and sours. This is a light tart saison with hibiscus and pink peppercorns. Good luck.
No, thank you. Sunbelt Cold IPA, clear, crisp, tropical twist. Again, that's a fucking brew pub name for a beer. And you know what? Fine. It could work. Yeah, if you're all in-house, fine. Limiteds, which when you see that written out, doesn't look right to me. I don't know why. That word with an S on the end of it doesn't look right. Barrel-aged caramel cream reserve. So we did barrel age caramel cream, just a base 5% beer one time in apple brandy barrels, and it was really good. But that is a beer, like I think it was 6 weeks that it spent in that barrel. It's not a beer that is meant to be barrel aged for very it's not. Even here, they say it's a 5.8% beer, but
the imperial version of caramel could go into a barrel and do pretty well. I just love that the next one is a fruited sour series called Sun Showers. They need this. AI is pushing an agenda, man. I'm pretty sure this AI was invented by Matt Manthe. He just wants sours to be the most important thing. He wants to bring them back. And I appreciate it because sours are great. But no one needs that.
I'm going to pull back the curtain here a bit. Sun Showers, or just Sun Shower, is a name that I have fought off being the name of a beer at Copper Point for almost 5 years now.
It's been used like 100 times.
Oh, I know. And I've tried. I mean, that was my initial response to, no, it's done. None of them are down here. It's just a bad name. What does it mean? I'm sorry, Matt, if you hear this, but it's just not a good name. Like, I'm glad be happy we do not do that at Copper Point. But yeah, that's that one hit so hard. I'm like, oh my God, I hate that name. But okay, let's get into market strategy. Quality first. Niche focus. Sales mix: 70% tap room, 30% external. External is such a weird word for that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Local bars, craft-centric bottle shops, which don't exist down here at least. Small chains like Lucky's, which doesn't exist anymore.
That's what I was going to say. That also doesn't exist. They've been closed for a long time.
Also, small
Foods,
like
not
Whole
a small
Foods.
chain.
Small chains like Whole Foods and Total Line.
Only flagship 4-packs. Avoid big grocery chains for now.
And no, but actually, that's really good advice as opposed to as big grocery. And by the way, Whole Foods is a different kind of chain than Publix.
They are, yes.
Okay, so within fairness to the AI, only flagship 4-packs. Terrible idea. 4-packs do not sell as well as 6-packs. They just do not.
Especially because when you get into the very next section on packaging, it's saying that you do 6-packs and not 4-packs for your flagships. Yeah. So it's telling you, go ahead and do them in 6-packs, but only sell them as 4-packs.
It's almost as if this AI has not thought this through.
Yeah, right.
Well, today I actually texted Kevin this, and he didn't respond to me. Thanks, Kevin. I went to Publix today, and Publix has for now like a year or so had single tall boy cans for sale. That's where I got the Voodoo Ranger, and I noticed, I'm like, oh wait, that can of fresh IPA from Civil Society is a 19.2. They typically do 16-ounce cans. They are now doing 19-ounce cans for the Publix sets in the singles, and they also have the 4-packs of 16-ounce cans in the same coolers too, a little further down. But I was just like, oh man, maybe big cans are doing all right in markets.
The big format, not the 16-ounce format, the big format has so many applications in stadiums and in different. There's
But
really
16s are
good.
used in those too.
They are, but I've seen a lot of this, and this is kind of some personal experience. Some of the things I talked about earlier about some of the opportunities that might be opening up for us is a lot of big format stuff. So I see the utility for that. The thing is that you have as incredible as that can be for you, there are still limited places for you to put it. So if you start doing that kind of production and you lose that one or two big spots, you kind of have nowhere else to go with them. But those products at a 7-Elevens, at some of these grocery chains can be really good if you've got that kind of business.
Yeah.
I say why stop it at 19.2? I say go all the way up to a 1,984 ounce can.
Hey guys, I brought this.
It could even come with like a separate way to like get the beer out of there. Like maybe you could push it with CO2, and then you could actually even put it on like, I don't know, like a system where you could pour it out as well.
This one restaurant by me has Pabst 22-ounce cans that they sell. I've never seen that from any other brand besides Pabst.
So I've got this wild idea, guys. We put this beer out in large stainless steel containers. They can be 5.17 gallons or up to 15.5 gallons.
Which is 1,984 ounces, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get your number. Sorry. Did I just do the same exact joke as you did? God damn it. I'm sorry, Tim. I'll just stop talking.
Okay. So this now brings us into the relaunch plan. And this is my favorite part of this entire thing because
the storm has passed.
I love that. I really do. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being fucking facetious. Like, the storm has passed. That's a pretty good relaunch like slogan for a brewery that had category like storm related beer names.
To me, when I think of Florida and I think of storms, the first thing I think is, and now the cleanup begins when the storm has passed. Like, to me, it doesn't give me that same like cool vibe. It's like, oh no, now everyone that had to deal with this is totally fucked and having to rebuild.
Here's what it should be for the first month. That tap room should there should be no music being played. It should just be the hum of a generator running for 1 month straight.
This sandbags all over the place.
And chainsaws every hour on the hour. Because that is truly what it sounds like after a real bad storm has passed. It's just a hum of generators and chainsaws. But I do like that as a catchphrase, a slogan for a relaunch. Like this is probably my favorite thing that this AI came up with out of it. A soft launch, invite only sneak preview night for the former fans and new influencers. Sure, that makes sense. That makes sense. Tease revival with nostalgic countdowns on social media, photo archive throwbacks. Sure, that works too. Grand opening month, 10 days of due south, 1 new beer or event per day. That's a lot to fucking do. Like, why not just start with 10 beers? Like, instead of bringing out a new one every day. Live canning demos, no one gives a fuck about that.
No, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Beer food pairings, sure, fine. Music nights, nope, that's not happening because there's only like 11 songs allowed to be played in Due South. And Bittersweet Symphony has to play every hour. No, I'm sorry, every 15 minutes. brewer meetups, that shouldn't happen. And honestly, going back to the Barrel of Monks one, that was mentioned is like having like meet the brewer nights, meet the brewer videos. I did this just for shits and giggles with Copperpoint, and that was in there too. There, I would say 98% of the brewers in this industry are people who customers should not meet.
That's true.
Not everyone is Sam Calagione. Like, not everyone can be a fucking like charismatic motherfucker like him. Like, most of them are just awkward people, or really self-centered people, or people who just don't want to be the focus. So like meeting the brewer is just that. I mean, I remember that from the early days of craft beer. That is something that shouldn't be done anymore. Partner with local artists for label art pop-ups. I mean, I dig that, but I don't know how much that would really be done with Due South. Brand differentiators. That's a word. Positioning. Born in the storm, built for what's next.
See, this section to me felt like AI used AI to write this.
Yeah, that's
Like you opened up one AI generator and then it went to Chat GPT and it just farmed it out.
that GPT was like, hey Claude, what? How do I do this? And it was like, I don't know, Grok. Do you want to do this? And it was like, I'm a Nazi, and like, oh fuck, forget him. But yeah, Due South 2.0 stands out by combining legacy loyalty plus rebranded flair. Okay, so we're gonna have pins on people. Focused Florida terroir beers. Honey, citrus, tropical yeast. What the fuck is tropical yeast?
I don't know, idea. But I would just be worried for the terroir in any way, shape, or form. I can't imagine the mix of STDs and Bengay that would be happening in South Florida. That I think I would be a little worried.
Community first taproom culture that adapts quickly. I mean, in writing, that all makes sense to me because that's, I mean, you guys know that's me to a T. I love that. Like, but is this brewery going to do that? Unless the ownership has changed their tune very completely. No, it's not. But unless they really want to just fucking go hammered into that and just try to make money. I want it, but it's not going to happen.
So, Mike, I want to point out something. So you're moving on to the marketing blueprint area, and there is a Due South Does It YouTube short series, which, you know, take that if you want. What I love about this is one of the potential videos is how we name a beer. I think that the best thing to do in this situation is to actually do a video about how Due South used to actually name a beer, which is make the beer. It's absolutely done, fermented in a bright tank, carbonated. Then we all stand around, try it, and go, what the fuck are we going to name this beer? Because that's how my experience with what are we going to name this beer is going to do. And I think that would be something that people would really appreciate. Expose how the sausage is made by a bunch of unprofessional people who had no concepts in the beginning of how to come up with a beer name.
You know, that's honestly, I have had that experience at multiple places that I have worked at. like it makes no sense from a distributing brewery standpoint because you want to get ahead of things. You want to plan out stuff. You want to have if you're making packaging for it. You need to have your labels. You need to have this, that, and like get some social media ahead of it. There are so many people who just are so still to this day so fucking late and spur of the moment with this. Like, I don't know what to name it until I know how it tastes. Well, if you think that you're as good at making a fucking recipe as you think you are, then you should know what it tastes like by making your recipe. And you can, and not every beer needs to be named after what it fucking tastes like. We made a beer at that brewery called Stegosaurus Pants that was what Joel came up with because he knew how silly naming conventions were at that point. And that, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you could just name something whatever the fuck you want. As long as it's a cool name or a funny name, it's got cool artwork to it, whatever. That's what people care about. They don't care about a connection to something. Like, I don't know how many fucking times I have to say, like, if you name a beer after someone in your family, no one gives a fuck about your family except for you. And that's a fine thing because that should be your family. People who are wanting to buy your product don't want to buy something named after your great grandfather. Like, they want to buy something that resonates with them.
I don't know. My great grandfather's name was Captain Kickass, which I think would make a pretty awesome beer name. But I guess you think I'm being selfish for trying to do that.
You're a monster. That's what I think.
I mean,
I can't use monster though. That's already taken. That's already a brewery.
I fell. But anyway, let's get into the marketing blueprint. Digital, Instagram, TikTok, reels of can drops, brewing secrets, tap room behind the scenes.
Oh, I thought that was the K-pop band.
BTS.
It just says BTS, so I just
is that a K-pop band?
Yes, that is.
Oh, I didn't know that. YouTube Shorts. Due South does it. I will be honest. YouTube is probably one of the most underutilized spaces by breweries. Kevin is probably one of the few places that I know that utilizes YouTube.
Oh yeah, and at least 16 people watch every one of the videos that I do, and 15 of them are my dad. So it's very successful.
The shorts thing is also a different beast too. It's kind of like Reels, it's kind of like TikTok, but they want you to be very, very short, which Instagram wanted Reels to be short at one point because they at one point said, "Hey, you will be better if your Reels are under 30 seconds." Then it was like, if it's under 60 seconds, it'll be better. Now they're like, it should be over 60 seconds, and you need to use this type of music. And YouTube Shorts has something potentially going on there. But again, it's work. It's work that needs to be done. And it takes time to do a whole lot of filming and then condense it down into a 1-minute thing that people will want to consume and keep on coming back to.
And YouTube recently, within the last 6 months or whatever, increased the length that shorts could be too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, because they used to be 60 seconds. Now they're 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Because
so they're doing the same thing.
Well, yeah, they're doing the exact same thing. I think they're just finding enough.
Which is funny is like it seems like they were like, people's attention spans are dirt. So you got to make it really, really short. Oh, believe it or not, people will actually tune into something if it's a little bit longer and has good information going on in it.
Yeah.
But partnerships, brewer collabs with other rebooted brands. But that's such a fucking weird thing. I don't know who Rivertown is, who they say. Cigar City, I don't know how they're really a rebooted brand.
I don't know either. That's nonsense.
Local universities for internships and co-branded events. So free labor and co-branded events. Got it. For at places where at least probably 75% of the people cannot legally consume the product. Got it. Niche influencers in food design and Florida outdoors. Design? What? Why do I want a design influencer getting involved with the brand? Like, I mean,
To
I
help
can
with your
maybe
design.
understand this for like someone like Burial, or like a really like art-driven brewery. But man, that one's a real big fucking stretch. Also, CGI loves influencers, loves sour beers, and loves
An influencer.
influencers.
Yeah, that's their bread and butter. That's what they go back to every time.
Yeah.
You mean
'Cause
AI? Yeah. You said CGI. I got really confused for a second.
CGI does too.
It's all the same thing. It's
Well,
all
see, that's-
technology. I'm
Well,
confused
that's
by
why
all of it.
that's why you get the design influencers, because they are making computer generated images, so that's why they fit in.
So
you just-
yeah, I mean I downed that Voodoo Ranger, and now I'm on to an 8.5% hazy. So I'm feeling. That's what I'm feeling. Loyalty program, the 2 rewards. Like points earned for purchase, shares, and check-ins, reward. You know, that's another thing. CGI, CGAI. That we'll go with that. CGAI loves sour beers, influencers, and rewards programs.
I actually kind of like do rewards. I like that.
It could almost be confused with something related to Mountain Dew, I feel like. But you're like, hey, it's spelled differently.
I dig it. I like do rewards for due south.
Right on.
Right on.
So that brings us to the end of the relaunch of Due South. So Kevin talked about the things that he liked in the Barrel of Monks one. So I feel like I should talk about the things that I like. I do think that getting out of Boynton Beach would be a good thing. I mean, I don't know how much sense it would make unless they have a property that they own or a really big investor behind them. But downtown Delray, I feel like really could use something like that. And West Palm still, I think downtown really could use something like that. Now it's getting rich really quick there, but there's the potential. I like some of the beer stuff. I like changing caramel cream to a nitro beer. I like Cat 3 being a hazy. I like keeping Cat 5 basically exactly where it's at. And I like the slogan, "The storm has passed." I just gotta say that's my favorite thing of this, because I don't know. It made me smile when I read it. It didn't make me cringe. It didn't make me laugh. It made me smile. And that's a good thing, right? When we smile, it means that we're happy about something. Like, that's probably the first time something Due South related has made me smile in fucking 10 years. And like that's gotta mean something. And if it did it for me, it probably would do it for other people. I know we're not a video podcast, but Jerry Only has joined the podcast.
Tim has been doing
us.
this for the past like 5 minutes, and it's just
I
entertained
haven't
the fuck
noticed.
out of me.
He now has a devil lock.
No,
do you not want to be Jerry Only? Would you rather be Glenn Danzig in this whole thing?
Mike, I'm glad that you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, and I thought it'd be really fun to take a brewery that had some success and really was one of the early adopters in craft beer in South Florida. I mean, the first full-scale production brewery in South Florida was Due South.
Yeah.
And they had everything. They could have been dominant and held that space, and a lot of decisions did not fare well for that company. And looking back and saying what could have been done a little bit different, I would love to put together like a 6-page essay on the history of Due South and then ask AI what we could have done differently and really dive into all the
Can
decisions
your
that were
thesis
made.
be on this?
I mean, you guys realize that I'm in school, so I have used AI a lot to come up with ideas and things of that nature. It's a really great tool, but you learn to massage AI to get the kind of information that you're looking for, and it can be a little bit complicated. It can take some time, but there is some really great things that can come out of it. And I think that through the Barrel of Monks thing, through the breweries we talked about last week, 2 weeks ago, what have you, there's some things to mine out of that. And this is the thing: if you ask a question and you get 40 answers, and you can pull out 2 or 3 things that are good ideas, that's a fucking win. That's a real win.
Yeah, like I'm a very big like anti AI person for a lot of the stuff that it's being used for. I think that there are time and places for it. Like AI should be helping us solve the big fucking mysteries of the fucking world. It should be helping us cure cancer. It should be helping us, especially in the medical space. Like it shouldn't be making art.
I like that it's helping Mike cure cancer, because Mike's been working very hard on this for a long time, and he's messing around. He's got lemon juice, he's got orange blossom honey. He's like, which one of these is going to do it? Wait a minute, I'm going to work with AI, and it's like you need 2 parts orange blossom honey and 1 part lemon juice, and you're good.
Yeah. My partner in all of this, Dexter Holland, the lead singer of The Offspring, he's a real scientist. Like, I don't know how many people know that. He works on mRNA vaccines and shit. And I love that he's taken me under his wing and lets me help him out with this stuff. But
my favorite thing about this episode is the fact that Tim has interjected.
Changed his hairstyle about 10 times.
He has interjected multiple times with good content, but he also has not, because we talked about Barrel of Monks, we talked about Due South, 2 breweries he doesn't have any real experience with, but he has enjoyed himself by changing his hairstyle multiple times throughout to entertain us. So he may not have been entertaining you guys that are listening to as much as he normally does, which he does. But my God, has this been a lot of fun.
You know what?
This in the corner, I'm listening to Mike and he's making a good point, and there's just like stuff going on over here. It's great.
He was like, so to compare this very poorly to old Howard Stern, like, you and I were like Howard and Robin, the ones constantly talking, and he was like Jackie or Fred, like chiming in with really good stuff here and there, and that's the stuff that people really put the clips to. They really go back and they make the clips for the joke guy. What was that? What Jackie was?
Jackie the Joke Man.
Yeah, that's. So
you're right. That was an awful analogy.
Yes, it was.
I just wanted to go ahead and reaffirm that was terrible. So
you don't want to be the joke man.
Well, so one thing I want to take out of this, because Kevin kind of summed it up, and I would love to see Tim's response to this as well. Is the AI stuff absolutely? I think for small businesses can serve the role of some local marketing firms and just spitball ideas at you. Just like you give it a great prompt, like you sent me these prompts. They are sentences long. Like anytime I ever used AI in the past, it's usually like 1 sentence thing, and I get bullshit. And that's probably why I get bullshit, is I don't really give it a whole lot of information. But you showed me the prompts that you used, and like, man, like who wrote the prompts for you? Did an AI write the prompts for you? But man,
I will
you
not confirm or deny.
You
This
could
is like
get
this is like a Max Headroom situation, isn't it?
the real Max Headroom or the hijacked of WGN Max Headroom. Do we want to talk about lost media stuff? Um, so it comes down to this could be a good tool for just generating ideas, getting the brain moving, and like I kind of dig it for that. Like I don't like these generative art bullshit things. Like I hate seeing people go put this prompt in and it'll make you into an action figure. Fuck you. Seeing authors like creating AI generated book cover arts. Fuck you. Hire like
I
pay
wanna
a
just
fucking artist.
I just want to go ahead and create an entire AI generated book and just start
Oh, there's
self-publishing
there's
those.
tons of people who do that already.
Yeah, and see if I can't just take a
I
couple of
think
quick prompts and make
I
money,
think
make my
this as
passive
a
income that way.
storyboard or a brainstorming type of tool is pretty cool. I mean, it loses track of its own ideas very quickly. It seems sometimes like it will be like, this is what we're going to do in one chunk, and then the very next it'll be like, do something that's completely anti that I just told you to do. But I think that this has been a fun exercise to create breweries, to refresh a brewery, and to revive a brewery and see what this throws out and spits out as ideas. There's some stuff in all of this, like what we did last week, what we did this week or 2 weeks ago, and what we did this week that, like, I think makes sense to me. There's stuff that have been ideas of my own that just, like, at the time and place weren't accepted, but makes me feel vindicated to a certain extent. So, like, I might use this some more for just, coming up with some ideas where things are stagnant, and maybe like people use stuff like Pinterest, and I know there's tons of sites just for like storyboarding ideas. I feel like this tool can be used for something similar to that and not feel so evil, even though I don't know.
I don't know. I think I made it a pretty sexy looking Pope. I'm just saying.
Oh, the white smoke is up. Tim, what is your chosen Pope name? Let's do this. Chosen Pope names.
Chosen Pope names. Let's see. That's the street I grew up on, and my mother's maiden name, right? Yeah. No, I think the whole idea. I think you're right. Like I don't use AI enough myself. Not because I'm so anti it, but more just because I'm an old who lets technology pass him by. But I do like that idea because rather than just generating some stupid word cloud type of thing, it does do a lot of the work that sometimes brainstorming sessions with other people can be painful.
Oh,
and so this kind of takes away that pain, and it was nice that it didn't just say taproom should have subway tile and Edison lights. Like it got a little bit more creative, which is nice.
But it should.
But it should. Yeah,
make sure.
I don't think you can get a license to operate a taproom unless you have subway tile and Edison lights. Otherwise,
it's illegal. Yeah. In
right.
South Florida, it is. I can't talk about Central Florida. I can't talk about anywhere else, but it's certainly a legal precedent here.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean it certainly has its uses, and the last episode and this one has kind of made me think a little bit more about how I could be using it, and I do like it. Now, that said, like, it wasn't, as Mike said, it wasn't entirely internally consistent, and it still has the limitation of brainstorming sessions can get kind of groupthink, but this still is sort of a groupthink type of exercise in and of itself. So I don't know that it's getting anything too outside of the box. Now, maybe if you really tried to change your prompts, you could get there. there is something to be said for wisdom of the crowd, though. So it's a good starting off point. Now there were still plenty of things that I just found ridiculous because it does a really good job of buzzword bingo at times.
Absolutely, yeah. It's scouring the internet. It's finding all these things that everyone's doing and trying to amalgamate them into a coherent strategy.
Yeah, well, with all of the bespoke artisanal libations that you'll be making from this AI generated whatever, because some of these things, even on the Barrel of Monks thing, it was like Belgian with a Florida twist, and I was like, nothing in there gave me Florida twist, other than maybe like one or two of the names. Nothing really gave me anything.
Triple dipped in coconut. It doesn't give you a Florida twist. Wait, Kevin, have you guys ever done a coconut triple?
Shit, we've done coconut beers, but I don't think we've ever done a coconut triple.
I remember you did like the lime coconut beer. It was the collab with.
You mean lime, saltwater, and Three Sons? So lime and the Cocoa Monk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the base of that?
That was a saison.
Okay.
Lime coconut saison.
Lime and the Cocoa Monk. That makes me irrationally angry. I just need you to understand that.
Oh no, I'm embarrassed for myself. I think I actually came up with that name and thinking like no one's gonna like this, and everyone liked it. I was like, fuck, okay. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe someone else came up with it. But
well, you can blame AI.
Else. You can do it.
I'm pretty sure Dustin listens to this, so maybe Dustin can chime in on whether or not how that actually happened. I might have blocked out that information.
I think the video of how beers get named is really just a video of you going to AI and asking for beer name recommendations.
I think a video of beers getting named is a marketing person or head brewer walking towards a brewer person and the brewer person going, "Oh no, get the fuck away from me. Please, no, let's not do this now. I got to take gravities. Bye."
Stop asking me questions.
Which I feel like I have seen that video done. Like I've seen videos many times of breweries being like, when the marketing person walks into the brewery and they all just like, it's like, oh, here's a marketing person with a camera, and people start hiding. And like, I don't think that my people do that because they also know that I worked out there and I know what the fuck is going on out there. But who knows? There's probably some times where they're like, get the fuck away from me. And I wish that they would tell me. Well, actually, one of them does tell me, get the fuck away from me. And I appreciate her for that.
Did this just become a therapy session for Mike?
I think so.
I mean, this show this is the only reason that we keep going is because I need this.
It's your therapy session. I get
every 2 weeks. All right. I think it's a good point to head into last calls. Does anyone want to introduce a person to do their last call this week so that we can make sure that they go last?
I will not be doing that again. I was very happy with how it worked out with Allie, but
that was the best last call in the history of last calls.
Yeah,
so everything is terrible from here on out and just downhill.
Yeah, I don't know how we continue with this segment of the show.
So Kevin, I think you should go first because of that.
Okay. So I have done a couple last calls about my son's baseball situation, basically talking about first and foremost how I was very disappointed on how some of the coaches and how some of the parents were so involved and so they cared so much about the results, and it was really disappointing to me. And then also talking about how I've met like really great parents who were encouraging in the right way and, motivated their kids without treating it like it was like the end all be all, the most important thing in the world. This may be the kind of capstone to that conversation. My son, they've done great at the end of the season. He is 7 years old in his first really competitive season in baseball, and he's going to the championship game. It's going to happen tomorrow as of this recording. When you guys hear this, it will have already happened. I am immensely proud of him, of how much work he's put into it. But I'm kind of disappointed in myself because for most of this season, while I've said all the right things, I've told him over and over again, like, this is not the most important thing in your life. It's all about having fun. It's all about your enjoyment of it. My mannerisms and my anxiety has come out. When I'm watching the games for most of this season, I've been standing. I've been worried about how he's going to do, not because I care if he gets a hit or not, but because I care about how he's going to respond to it. And that anxiety, I think, has kind of crossed over into his enjoyment of the game. And it was in the last couple weeks that I started to calm down a little bit. I took a lot of advice from a YouTube channel, social media account called Coach Ball Game, which talks about how we as parents should really encourage these kids and how we should talk to them. And one of the things he said was sit down, say nothing but positive things, and eat a lot of sunflower seeds. And from a guy who played baseball his whole life growing up and eat sunflower seeds on a regular basis, it was the best advice I ever got. Because yes, I care, and I'm worried that he's going to have a bad experience. He's going to feel bad about himself if he strikes out or he doesn't get a hit. I can't affect it. So all I can do is say positive things and encourage him, and all the kids, encourage them and just have a great attitude about it. Because I can say the right things, but if I say the right things with a negative tone or an anxiety-filled tone, he's going to feel that. And I saw him feel that when we were practicing. So I got up on my high horse and said, these parents are taking things too seriously. And I did. I did the exact same thing that I said that other people were wrong for doing, even though I thought I was doing it the right way. So if you're a parent out there, look at yourself and evaluate how you're interacting in these situations. What is the negative or the positive values you're bringing? What's the most positive value you can bring to this situation? It's the best thing we can do for our kids. And it means everything to their enjoyment of what they're actually doing. And I've been able to catch myself, and I'm still a little bit on edge from time to time, and I'm fighting those urges. We can all get better at that stuff.
I definitely want to talk about that off air. I just like, I'm going to use this as my time as my plug as well, because I'm super fucking stoked and honored that I have a photo that is in a local magazine. The first time that I've ever had a photo printed that I didn't print. The Atlantic Current is a local magazine in Palm Beach County. Also, they have some stuff in northern Broward County and southern Martin County, but it mainly focuses on Palm Beach County stuff. I have actually written for the Atlantic Current before. I have known the publisher, Dustin Wright, for many years now. He's a awesome dude. He paid me to write stuff for their publication in print and digitally. And they do bi-monthly issues that are free, available at a number of local establishments. They also have a digital copy. If you go, it's not up right now, but if you go to theatlanticcurrent.com, by the time that this is up, hopefully the digital copy is up. But they do a photo issue every year. And since I've gotten into photography, I have considered for a couple of years submitting stuff. And then last year was the first year that I actually did submit stuff to be considered for the photo issue. I didn't have anything considered anything picked last year, but this year I had a photo selected because one of their topics for the issue was wildlife. And if anyone follows me, I love taking pictures of birds. And but I have a very distinct style that's dark and moody and not something that really fits a lot of Palm Beach aesthetic a lot of the time. But I got an email from Dustin probably about a month ago saying that I had something selected. I asked him which photo, and he ghosted me. And at which I was like, did I just do something wrong? And then I got the waiver a couple weeks later to sign, and I still asked like which photo of mine got selected, and he still wouldn't reply to me. I think that he did it on purpose just to make me wait and see. Maybe he does it to everyone, and he wants everyone to be excited by picking up an issue and seeing what is in it. But there's a photo. If you go to my Blue Sky, I posted about it there. My Instagram, I posted about it. It's a photo that I took of a great egret in Okehili Park that I loved. It has the reflection of the bird off of the water, and I edited it to have a really dark, moody feel to it. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of a lot of the stuff I put out. But to have a dark art selected for the magazine really fucking felt good. And it just made me think about like, there's probably a lot of other people out there who make dark art. And I follow a ton of people who make awesome photography, illustrations, paintings, and stuff that composites that are so dark and weird and crazy, and I love it. And they probably think that there's no outlet for them. Fucking submit. Like if this was free. Look for places that are going to take your photo submissions for free. Like, obviously, read the contracts when they send it to you. Like, I read it, and it was like, they were like, hey, we do not own the rights to this in perpetuity. This is just for this magazine. We can use it in social media to promote the magazine, and that's it. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes all the sense in the world to me. Submit. Get yourself out there, because there are people that love your work and you don't even know it yet. And I want you to put yourself out there, because it's a fucking tough thing to do. I know it. It's a really tough thing to make yourself vulnerable and be like, this is what I do. This is what I love. Here, maybe accept me. So to have that then pull through, like, it's a big fucking high. It means a lot. Dustin did not need to. He owes me fucking nothing. But it's also cool that I have worked with him in the past. He has been a freelance employer of mine, and that he selected something of mine. I would like to think with no bias at all in it. Means a lot. So if you're in the local Palm Beach County area, go find your local Atlantic Current. Go to theatlanticcurrent.com. You can find the locations that they're in there, and then the digital copy will hopefully be up, and you can see that, and mean a lot to me for real. But yeah, it's a feather in my cap that I just wanted to share. Tim?
I don't have anything really meaningful this week. You guys, you dropping great news and life lessons, and I just want to give a shout out to Minnesota Spring. We're in the I don't know, 3.5 weeks where the weather is actually pretty awesome here. And boy, this past week has been absolutely gorgeous. Been able to get out and play badminton and pickleball with my daughter and get outside, sleep with the windows open. Because the warm temps and the and I know I'm talking to the wrong audience here, but it does actually get like weirdly uncomfortable for what you would think a northern state would be. But it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect right now. So I've just been really enjoying that. So I just wanted to, I guess this is my plug too. Just go ahead and say, hey, now's the time when you should be visiting Minnesota. So come say hi.
Hey, Minnesota Travel Council, if you want to hire Tim. But for real,
I thought you were already on their payroll. I thought that was already a given.
You're one of the biggest proponents of Minnesota that I've ever met, and I fucking adore that about you.
Awesome here. So,
does anyone want to plug anything? Cool. If you want to follow the podcast, we're at United We Drink Pod. We're at United We Drink Pod on Instagram and Threads. I'm not really posting on Threads, so fuck that space. We're at unitedwedrink.com on Blue Sky. That's our website as well, and that's where you can find our podcast as well as all of the major podcast services such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, all the things that you love. If you want to support the show, go to our website, unitedwedrink.com, and check out the Brands We Love page. Hey, it's cold brew season. Go check out Trade Coffee, and they have cold brew subscriptions. And if you sign up for a cold brew subscription, you get a free cold brewer, a $30 value. So you can put your beans in there and then the water, and in a day you have cold brew. So I have a bag of cold brew beans coming to me. Should be here Friday, and I'm looking forward to trying it. Something new from California. So yeah, check that out. You hit that link, you buy something, and it helps support this show. Other than that, we'll be back in a couple weeks. We won't talk about AI.
Are you sure?
I sort of promise. Sort of promise. So we'll see you all then. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.